The first citizen of India, the president. How president is elected, the qualifications, the oath, the duration, and more importantly, two concepts with respect to president of India are the veto powers and the pardon powers. Now, president is known for the discretion power. What is so special? President appoints the Prime Minister in India. Now, when I say President appoints the Prime Minister in India, it's by law the leader of the majority party. Now, in case one of the parties is not there in majority, there is a coalition government. Coalition government means no single party could win and multiple parties came together to form the government. So, who would be the leader in that case? In that case, who would be the Prime Minister? So, there is no one party which has the absolute majority, and in that case, President has the discretionary power to select a right leader in case of a coalition government. So, that is one way where President uses the discretionary power. The second place where President uses the discretionary power is the veto power. Veto power is the power to either hold or withhold or refuse any bill which is sent to become a law. And the third important place where President uses the discretionary power is President has the right to send an advice to the Council of Ministers in order to reconsider the decision that they have done. So, three places where President plays a very important role, and we call this as the discretionary powers with President. So, discretionary powers of President, very important to note. Now, let's understand how President is elected. President is elected by both the members of parliament, which is Lok Sabha plus Rajya Sabha, and the members of state legislative assemblies, but only the elected members in all the cases, as well as the elected members of the union territories of Delhi and Puducherry. Note, in the process of election, when we have the electoral college, nominated members are not part of the process of election of the president. The next important thing is the election process occurs as a system of proportional representation by single transferable vote. That means every person is given a ballot paper, the name of the presidential candidatures are mentioned, and the person has to put the preference 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 against the respective candidates on order of the priority, 1 to the person with most priority. The least ones are eliminated and the top ones, basically based on the preferential system, are selected. So, this system of election for the president is indirect in nature, very important. It's not a direct election process from people directly. It's by the elected members of the House of the Parliament as well as the elected members of the state legislature assembly. Now, what is the qualification to become a president? The first qualification is definitely the president should be citizen of India, must have completed 35 years of age, should be qualified for election as a member of Lok Sabha. Important to note here, it's member of Lok Sabha, and should not hold any office of profit, be under state, center or local authorities. The oath for the president is administered by the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court in India, and if trying to nominate for the post of president, what are the rules to be followed? The name has to be proposed by 50 electors, and those are called as proposers, and then there must be 50 seconders as well. So 50 electors as seconders, so 50 proposers and 50 seconders, so total 100 people we can say who would be nominating the name. And once the candidature is being nominated, a security deposit of 15,000 to the RBI is made. Now, as a president, what are the conditions? The president should not be member of any house of parliament or state legislature, should not hold any other office of profit, and the residence, which is the official residence, Rashtrapati Bhavan, would be available without payment of rent to the President of India. Also, all the allowances will be determined by the parliament. Now, the term of the president is 5 years. President has the right to resign before the term. President can also be impeached before the term. Now, impeachment can be brought either by members of Lok Sabha or by Rajya Sabha. Whatever members are bringing in impeachment from whichever house, from that house, 1/4 of the members must sign for impeachment. So far, none of the presidents have been impeached in India. In case president is not available, the post is vacant, that post would be temporarily occupied by the vice president, who would be acting as the president. In case vice president is not available, then Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. In case neither President, Vice President or Chief Justice of the Supreme Court is available, then the senior most judge of the Supreme Court would take in charge of all the duties. Important, very important to note, impeachment is a quasi-judicial process. Why? In the process of impeachment, the nominated members of the House of Parliament and state legislatures take part. However, they cannot take part in the process of election. In the process of impeachment, the nominated members of the House of Parliament take part, but from the state legislatures, the members of the state legislatures, the members of the union territories of Delhi and Puducherry who are nominated are not allowed to take part. So, even the elected members of the Delhi and the Puducherry Union Territory are not allowed to take part in the process of impeachment. And repeat again, very important to note, in the process of impeachment, the nominated members of the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha can take part for the process of impeachment, not for the process of election. However, the elected members of the union territories of Delhi and Puducherry who took part in the election are not eligible to take part in the process of impeachment. Must and important to note here. Coming on to the powers of President. President has numerous powers. The most important, as we said, is the discretionary power which we discussed. Besides that, emergency powers. Emergency power grant President for national emergency, state emergency or financial emergency. Each of these emergencies discussed under Article 352, 356 and 360. Difference of 4, that's how you remember it. Then President is the supreme commander of the defense forces of India, all the 3 wings, Army, Navy and Air Force. President sends and receives diplomats, ambassadors, high commissioners and therefore maintains international relations. President also appoints the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court and the judges of Supreme Court and High Court. In case of the judicial powers, President also has the pardoning power, which we would understand in a while, the 5 different types of pardoning powers. When it comes to financial powers, President constitutes the Finance Commission for every 5 years and make advances out of the contingency fund of India. When it comes to legislative powers, President has the right to summon the Parliament, dissolve the Lok Sabha, nominate 12 members of Rajya Sabha and 2 Anglo-Indian members in Lok Sabha. Coming to the executive powers, President appoints Prime Minister, Council of Ministers, Attorney General, Comptroller and Auditor General and Chairperson of UPSC in advice with the Prime Minister and therefore has executive powers. Also, the commissions of SC, ST, OBCs, the interstate councils are appointed by President. So those are some of the powers of the President. Coming on to the veto power. Now, as I mentioned, veto is a unique power that the President has. There are 4 types of veto that we discussed. First is absolute veto, that talks about withholding any bill that is to become a legislature. Suspense veto, where the ordinary majority actually can override it. qualified veto where a higher majority is required, and pocket veto is the idea to refuse to pass the bill. Now, under this, qualified veto in India is not seen. Qualified veto is available with the President of United States of America. In India, the President has either the absolute veto, suspense veto, or pocket veto. Pocket veto of the President of India is much bigger, we can say, as compared to the pocket veto of the President of United States of America, because in United States of America, the President has just 10 days in order to send it for reconsideration. However, in India, President can use this power to keep it for a long lasting time or a unlimited time, we can say. Now, where this pocket power was used, a very interesting case study is 1986. In 1986, Parliament passed a bill which was the Indian Post Office Amendment Bill. Now, this Post Office Amendment Bill was passed. At that time, Gyani Jail Singh was the President of India. Now, Gyani Jail Singh did not wanted this bill to actually become a law. So, he used his pocket veto and just kept the bill pending over the table. After Gyani Jail Singh, we had the next president, Venkataraman, and by the time Venkataraman came, the government changed. And since the government changed, this post office bill, the Indian Post Office Bill, was no more significant to them, and ultimately this was not passed. So there is where the pocket power was used, the pocket veto power was used. So as a part of the veto power, the President can either directly give assent to the bill, can withhold the bill, or return the bill except money bill. So for money bill, the veto power does not work, and also the veto power does not work for any bill related to constitutional amendment. For any other bill, President can return the bill for reconsideration to the Parliament. The next important thing that we need to understand is the powers to pardon. Now, President has interesting powers to pardon. In what circumstances can President pardon? President can pardon only in 3 circumstances. One is where the death sentence has been granted. The next is a case when there is an offense against any of the union laws. Or third is a case of court martial. In these 3 cases, President can use the power to pardon. Now, court martial is where the military court is involved. So, there are 5 ways. The first is pardon itself. Pardon means let them free. So, all the sentences are relieved and the convict is made free. We call this as pardon. Commutation means any serious punishment is made less serious. So, rigorous punishment could be converted into a simpler punishment. We call this as commutation. Remission is where the duration of the punishment is reduced. For example, from 5 years to 2 years. Respite is where the process is very similar to commutation. The rigorous punishments are made less rigorous, but only in special conditions. For example, if a person suffers from disability, if there is a pregnant female, in those cases respite can be offered. The last is reprieve. Reprieve is temporarily withholding the death sentence. So the death sentence is temporarily put to hold. Now what is the benefit? Once the death sentence is put to hold, in that time the convict can seek for either pardon or for commutation, and therefore can either be set free or could get a chance to get a reduced punishment. So those are the 5 unique powers that the President holds. So in this section we have talked about the process of election, qualification, the powers, pardon and veto power, and the ordinance making power of the President, which falls under Article 123. Again, very important.